And joining me now in studio to just have a little bit more of that conversation is Mike Sebalu, who is a member of EALA. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mike, and I'm glad to be in the studios of KTN.
Fantastic.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'm glad to have a conversation on the subject.
All right. Now, as we celebrate EAC Day today, is there much to write home about regarding, the whole organization?
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot to write home about. Challenges notwithstanding. We've been able to walk a journey, a delicate journey, beginning with the customs union. You will appreciate that the East African integration agenda is premised on 4 pillars, the 4 pillars of integration. You've got the customs union, you've got the common market, you've got the monetary union, and ultimately the political federation. And each of these stages include a process of negotiation of protocols that then give legal effect to the aspirations of the people in the various integration stages. So we've been able to do quite a great deal of good work in terms of implementing the customs union. There are a few challenges here and there, but it is largely operational, and all the countries are operating under the East African Customs Management Act. That is something to write home about. We are now managing and implementing the common market. That is the market that brings all the population of the partner states, which then makes it available for East African residents either to trade in that market, either by buying or selling products or services, as the case may be. And it is largely functioning well, definitely with a few challenges and hitches here and there.
Here and there. We'll come to the
then
challenges.
we have the common market, which has been ushered in. The negotiation was done, but the implementation is phased because it's quite a complicated arrangement. But the processes are on under the different technical departments, ministries, departments, and agencies of the partner states.
Okay.
So largely, I would say that we've been able to make some good progress.
Some good steps and progress.
Definitely with a few challenges here and there.
Okay. Now, one of the take-home advantages that we'd imagine that would come out of this is what you've mentioned, the common market, but we've not been able to achieve that. Number one, what do you think is the main challenge, given that we all stand to gain should this happen?
That shouldn't happen. There is one thing that we really need to address, because when you go into an integration arrangement, the assumption is that you are ready to cede some of your sovereignty to a supranational level of authority, so that then you start working for a common good and in common interest. But one of the biggest challenges that we are having is the sovereignty, what I call the sovereignty syndrome. We still are enclaved in our national jurisdictions and borders. The question of national interest sits to stand in the way of collective interest and regional good. But definitely with a lot of explanation, a lot of sensitization, people get to appreciate that bigger is better. Doing it bigger, bolder, and better is definitely better for the economies. Having a bigger market any day is of advantage, provided you build enough capacity for purposes of producing and making goods available and making a good return on your investment in terms of trade.
Now, on
but
paper,
what we see a bit of protection here and there in the enclave
on
national.
paper, it is evident that take home would probably, it benefits everybody. What is stopping us from having that regional one common market? Well, you've mentioned that one has to cede. Could it be an issue of trying to protect our pride in owning what we own?
No, there is the element of, because we are managing this in a delicate stage of our development. You'll appreciate that we, apart from Kenya, which is slightly much more industrialized, all the other partner states are in the process of definitely building domestic capacity in terms of industrialization. So you find that in some cases, partner states may be interested in protecting their nascent industries within their jurisdictions. And those are a bit of short term because it is not sustainable. What you need to do is to be ready to compete. And you get a sense of shyness in terms of our players, even the individual players, to really go into competition. Because some of the positions that are taken in Arusha are very clear in terms of policy direction. But when they go home in the capitals, you find there are lobby groups, even from the manufacturing industries and whatever, which lobby their partner states governments to go slow or to ensure that they are given leverage here and there. But those are expected in a process that is just beginning. With the time, I do believe that the level of confidence will be high, and even the industrialists and our governments will realize that no country can ever develop without engaging in serious production and working on the issues of efficiency, effectiveness to make you more competitive. Yeah.
All right. Do you feel from where you're seated there is a commitment from the leaders?
Yeah, I would say the commitment is there. The commitment is there because we've seen a number of the issues that bring to forward that the commitment is there. It could be relative. It may not be the same level of commitment. It may vary from capital to capital, but the bottom line is that the commitment is there, but subject to certain variables in terms of factors pertaining in each and every partner state.
Okay. Do we have a time frame when maybe we think this should be in place? Because we cannot negotiate and stay on the negotiating table for too long.
Yeah, but as we do that, we need to appreciate one thing, that integration is a very complex undertaking.
Right.
It's quite complicated. It has effects that may be largely unforeseen, and it is not something you'd consider like an event, a one-off. It is a process. It is a delicate process of diplomatic engagement, negotiations, buy-ins, concessions, and compromises. Now, where you expect that kind of arrangement, moving it too fast again may not be sustainable. So the time frames are there. Each of the pillars has a time frame, and really integration is a function of time. Once the commitment is there, it is a question of when, not if. So I do believe that we'll get there.
It'll take time at some point. Now, looking at the reports, and you find that Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi are all operating separately, whereas you've rightly said, logically, the bigger you are when you integrate, the better, and the better for everybody. Do you see this happening anytime soon?
Yeah, that will happen soon, and it will be progressive. I don't agree with the report that says that each are doing independently.
They're operating independently.
Yeah, they could be operating independently because the processes of production would entail that you do it within your jurisdiction. But we need to look at the trade figures now. Definitely there is all evidence that intra-East African trade has gone up so many folds. It has gone up much more than ever before. We are trading more amongst our peers, our membership, than we are trading with the rest of the world. And when you look at all the East African partner states and you try to look out for their number one trading partner, it is within the region. That is a very good indicator in the short run. And when we get to the long run, that will definitely facilitate and make it possible for the common market to consolidate and get the rightful status that it deserves.
Does it give us more strength and bargaining power, especially given that we are very blessed with resources when it comes to Africa and even in East Africa? Would it give us bargaining power when we come in as one region and bargain with the West, for example?
Oh, that is the best case scenario. And that is one of the very reasons that we came together. Because we are then a market, any regional power block. We even now have to affect the interplay of global power setup because we are a market. And anyone who is looking at us will be looking at a market of 160 million people. No single partner would take you, would not take you seriously when you have a market of 160 million people. So it is to our advantage. It is our point of strength. And for that reason, there could be even other external players who find it not in their interest for us to be together as a market and be able to bargain and put our positions as a consolidated market. So we need to also look out for such challenges that may be external, which don't play into our favor.
Is there a possibility the external forces that would not want us to come together?
For sure, the big players, would any day find it easier and more convenient for them to deal with that individually in a fragmented manner by even playing one against the other, thereby weakening us further. So it is not in the interest of those that work with us that we are strong. If anything, it is in their favor that we remain weak, fragmented, and disorganized, so that then they can maximize their leverage over us.
Okay.
So it is our strategic interest to come together. And that's why integration is a matter of strategic importance. And anyone dealing with it needs to appreciate it from that strategic level.
All right, Mike Sebalu, thank you very much for joining us this morning to have that discussion. And of course, right here on KTN News, we keep you posted as it happens. Now,